The following is a Sportsnet presentation in association with the Toronto Blue Jays.
The Saturday special has the Blue Jays taking on the Twins. Blue Jays supporters got a show they recognized a night ago. 9 extra base hits helped lead to 10 runs scored. My goodness, it ensured a come-from-behind victory. So they'll do it again today, and we'll look forward to the call provided by Dan Shulman and Joe Siddall. Gentlemen, take it away.
Jamie, thank you very much. Yeah, it did feel a little bit like the offense from a season ago. It didn't start great, but boy, did it end well for the Blue Jays. Once they started hitting last night, Joe, they didn't stop.
10 runs, the largest offensive output for the Blue Jays this season, and it looked a lot like 2025. Why wouldn't Vladimir Guerrero Jr. start things off? It's his first of 3 hits on the night, drilling this double into the right center gap. He has been swinging it good, and then now Jesus Sanchez follows it up, back-to-back doubles. This gets the Blue Jays on the board, trying to come back. They were down 4-0 at the start of this 5-run 4th inning, and then Davis Schneider going the other way as well. He's off to a good start. He has been having some great plate appearances, and he's been rewarded with yet another start this afternoon. Andres Jimenez just keeps doing it at the plate. He drills this ball the other way. Oppo taco, as they say, and for Jimenez, he's continuing to swing the hot bat, but the biggest swing of the night. Brandon Valenzuela's first major league home run, and more importantly, it gave the Blue Jays a 5-4 lead. This is a at-bat that he will never forget in his young career.
And they went on to win by a score of 10-4. They will try to make it 2 in a row over the Twins here this afternoon, and there's the battery. Eric Lauer's feeling better. He is on the mound. Brandon Valenzuela makes his 2nd consecutive start, Jamie, behind the plate.
Lauer thrust into the rotation due to the delayed appearance of so many Blue Jays starters. We'll see how he fares today against the Minnesota Twins. Stand by for first pitch here on Sportsnet.
But it had one on it.
You're watching Rogers Blue Jays baseball on Sportsnet. Look at the pitching matchup this afternoon. Eric Lauer for the Blue Jays. Joe Ryan, a good one for the Minnesota Twins. The Blue Jays winning the opener 10-4, so they've won 2 in a row now after beating the Dodgers on Wednesday. A win today gets the Blue Jays back to the 500 mark. Spring is definitely in the air, but not yet to the point where the roof is open here at Rogers Center. Maybe next homestand. We will see, but another big crowd here today. Better than 37,000 last night. And they will all watch Vladimir Guerrero Jr. lead the Blue Jays onto the field momentarily. Had to be just a big collective sigh of relief from the position players, Joe, after the way they swung the bats in last night's game.
And especially after coming back after that victory against the Dodgers on Wednesday. They enjoyed a day off, and to see the bats put up 10 runs and then a flawless effort from the bullpen last night.
Brandon Valenzuela, as we mentioned, making his second consecutive start. He did catch Eric Lauer in Lauer's abbreviated start in Chicago a few days ago. And here they come with, again, Guerrero leading the way. The Blue Jays in the baby blues here this afternoon. Davis Schneider getting another start. As you mentioned, he has had some great at-bats in recent days. He is at second base today. Ernie Clemente over at third. Just a day off for Kazuma Okamoto, who could figure in later in the game. But Schneider has earned some more playing time in recent games. Let's take a look now at the lineup for the visitors, the Minnesota Twins. Josh Bell, who did not get a hit in last night's game, but still had very good at-bats. Ryan Jeffers hit a 3-run homer. Austin Martin, the former Blue Jays farmhand, up in the 2 spot and playing somewhat of an unfamiliar position for him in right field. No Matt Wallner today, but Trevor Larnach is in the lineup for the Twins. The Twins facing a lefty starter, Joe, for the 9th time in their last 15 games.
Eric Lauer is making his 3rd start of the season, and the first 2 have gone different ways. The first one against the A's, he was excellent, really good fastball, striking out 9, but he was a little under the weather in Chicago in his last start. Just went 2 innings plus 1 batter. He walked 3. The velocity was down. Clearly not at his best, so he is looking to get back on track, and I think we'll know early if that 4-seam fastball velocity is playing. Defensively behind Lauer this afternoon, Jesus Sanchez back out in left field, Varsho in center, and Nathan Lucas making his 6th start of the season. He's in right, couple of firsts on the infield. Clement at third base to start for the first time this year. Jimenez at short. Davis Schneider gets his first start at second base this season. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. over at first, and the home run hero Brandon Valenzuela back behind the dish this afternoon.
And it'll be Byron Buxton to lead it off for the Twins. He had a tough game last night, 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. As we talked about yesterday, this is a guy who's had a ton of injuries, but boy, is he talented. They just try to keep him on the field as much as they can. Last year, won a Silver Slugger, was an all-star, hit 35 home runs a year ago. He does not have one yet this year. First pitch, and he slashes it foul down the right side. It is 0-1 on Buxton. Again, Eric Lauer, as you mentioned, really under the weather. Of all the guys, most of the pitchers who got the flu, he got it the worst. And he knew that he was not right when he was pitching, but he was just trying to give the Blue Jays as many outs, as many innings as he could. This is popped up, and it looks like it's going to be playable for Guerrero, and it is.
Well, we'll keep an eye on that fastball from Eric Lauer this afternoon, but that's an excellent cutter in on the hands of Byron Buxton. He'll run that cutter in, he'll backdoor it. Most often, though, at the top of the zone.
Number 2 hitter, Austin Martin. As we mentioned, he was a first-round pick by the Blue Jays. He and Simeon Woods Richardson going to the Twins 5 years ago for Jose Barrios. Martin had a couple of hits in last night's game, 2 for 4 with a walk.
That fastball from Lauer not registering real high early on, but the swings are late. Tells me it's got some life to it.
A late strike call, but it is a strike call from Tom Hanahan, the home plate umpire, and it's 0-2. Derek Shelton, the first-year manager of the Twins. So the fastballs, and again, the game just started, but it's been 89, 90 for Lauer. You'd like to see 92?
Yeah, 91, 92, 93s, at least starting with the 9. He's got the cutter, curveball, slider, and changeup that he'll be mixing in a little bit more, I think, this season, especially those right-handed batters.
Outside corner, strike 3 call.
Location, location, location. Very good fastball from Lauer, but more importantly, he hits Brendan Valenzuela's glove right on the outside edge.
Yeah, if you ask Lauer to choose, do you want a little bit better location or a little bit more velocity? That's an easy choice for him, right?
Tough on hitters when you locate the baseball on the edges. Absolutely.
Luke Keeschall takes a big curveball down low for ball 1. The Minnesota second baseman hitting .204 on the season, went 1 for 4 last night. Better than this, hit just over 300 in 49 games as a rookie a season ago. A little bit high, and a challenge coming here in the first inning from Valenzuela. This closer look is brought to you by Specsavers, and chalk one up for the rookie. I mean, a first inning challenge with nobody on base. Like, this is not the highest of leverage situations, but the young guy took a bit of a risk, and it paid off.
Feeling pretty good. He's had a good couple of days.
Wow.
Took a shot and won. Clearly see when Brandon sets up for that cutter, he jumps inside, and that's where we saw Patrick Corbin missed with some of his cutters last night. If you're going to miss with that pitch from a left-hander to a right-handed hitter, you want to miss in off the plate.
Looked like a changeup there, hit in the air to center, very playable for Dalton Varsho, and a neat and tidy top of the first for Eric Lauer. George Springer again DHing. This is a guy who in 58 career games against the Twins has an OPS of over 1,000. They don't want to have anything to do with him. And after last night, they are much more aware of Brandon Valenzuela, his first big league homer, and it was a rocket. Over 111 miles an hour off the bat into the bullpen in right field. Dalton Varsho homered in the game as well. 7 of the 9 Blue Jays a night ago scored a run. 8 of the 9 drove in a run. Today they face Joe Ryan.
Joe Ryan is 29 years old. He's in his 6th year with the Twins. He was a first-time All-Star last season. ERA just under 3.5 in 30 starts. The walks are usually way down. The strikeouts are way up. He has uncharacteristically walked a few more than he usually does in his first couple of starts. Went 5 innings, allowing a couple of earned runs against the Tigers in his last start, earning the win, but walking 3.
And threw 101 pitches in the 5-inning stint, which is unusual for him. A nasty slider that Springer swings through.
Always tough on right-handers with the 4-seam sinker mix, the sweeper, curveball, slider, a lot of weapons.
And a low arm angle too, right?
You see he does. He's down there.
Well, come on, George. It's his birthday.
find that target.
He is showing you where that target is.
Joe Ryan has not given a home run up yet this season. 26 last year. The fly ball pitcher, so there will be a lot of balls in the air.
Springer has driven in a run and has hit a double in each of his last 3 games. He's got 10 hits this year, and 6 of them are extra base hits. Just inside, and it's 3-1.
That's the pitch there that will keep the right-handed hitters honest because of all the breaking pitches that he throws and the four-seamer up. Tried to run that sinker in and just missed the edge.
Back to the slider, and it's fouled off. 3-2. So the sinker running in, the slider running away as Varsho looks on from the on-deck circle.
And the four-seamer usually up in the zone with some pretty good ride to it.
And then a splitter too at the bottom of the zone, right? So he can hit every part of the strike zone.
A lot.
Did he check it? He did, and that's ball 4. So a man on for Dalton Varsho, who last night hit his first home run of the season, also the 100th home run of his big league career.
Yeah, this is a really good sign, especially left on left for Dalton. It's a good sign for the Blue Jays if that bat can heat up. And when we say that bat, we mean that power bat. That's what Dalton does very well. A lot of damage.
And you and I often talk, and Ryan starts him with a fastball up, why pitchers don't do that, not necessarily all of the time, but you know, sometimes they start up and then they give him a changeup down or a splitter down, and boy, those are the pitches he demolishes. Pops this one back towards the seats and out of play.
He is the type of hitter that if you make a mistake, he will literally make you pay by hitting it out of the ballpark, and we saw him do that last night. If you make your pitches, you can get them. You can do that to a lot of hitters, but especially Dalton. If he gets something in that zone where you miss your spot, he will get the barrel to it. And it's most likely in the bottom half of the zone. Out over the plate.
Takes one in there, and it's 1-2. That's the four-seamer, 93. Jesus Sanchez hitting in the cleanup spot again today for the Blue Jays. 4 games in a row, Varsho is in the 2 spot. 4 games in a row, Sanchez is cleanup. Little pop up on the infield. That ball's going to drop. It is foul. Just foul near the base. Carlos Fablis had a pretty good look at it, and we'll see if he has any questions for Manny Gonzalez. He is saying it might have hit the corner of the bag, but any ball that bounces in front of the umpire on the baseline is not reviewable. Just missed.
George Springer
Wow.
came around to third, and he was asking Fablis, and Carlos pointed down to right there where that ball landed on the foul side of the line.
Well hit ball to deep right. Gone! His second in as many games. Good thing that last one was foul.
Dalton gets to this Joe Ryan fastball. It's the first one he's given up this season after 26 last year, but it's up and in, and did he ever stay tight with his turn and get the barrel to the baseball, and he lines it over the right field wall.
What a start here this afternoon. It is 2-0. 2 batters in at the bottom of the first. He can be streaky, but boy, is he almost the ultimate ride the wave guy too with Dalton Varsho when he gets the power stroke going. One and one on Guerrero. Vladdy had a big night last night. 3 for 5 with 2 doubles, and the 2 doubles were his 2 hardest hit balls of the season. Rounds this one down to third. Ryan Kreidler, high throw, but a very good play by Victor Caratini to make sure they get the out.
Well, that funny foul ball that we saw was just a hanging curveball. You see, they're trying to come inside. He executed his pitch here, but at 94, Dalton is able to get to, and that's a really good sign. If you can get to that 94-mile-per-hour heater up and in, that's, I think, where Dalton wants to be. He's got such good bat speed. Fires it through the zone.
And whoever put that sign up on the jacket, dear home run jacket.
Wakey, wakey.
I mean, it is paying off. They had not hit a home run in 4 straight games until hitting 2 last night. Now they've got 1 here early today. And here is Jesus Sanchez. Went 1 for 4 with an RBI double last night. Ryan faced the Blue Jays twice last year. First one was pretty good. Second one, he got knocked around pretty good. Alejandro Kirk and Andres Jimenez both homered off him. Popped up shallow center field. Buxton in plenty of time for the second out. And there are 2 down now for Davis Schneider.
When you pitch, when you pitch up in the zone like Joe Ryan does, that's what can be an issue, because he's a fly ball type pitcher. As we said, you get a guy like Varsho, squared him up.
Second day in a row, Davis Schneider is starting against a right-handed pitcher. Again, the quality of his at-bats, as few as he has had, they have been excellent. Between hitting the ball hard, between drawing walks, kind of forcing John Schneider's hand a little bit. Today was kind of half he wants Schneider in there, and kind of half he wants to give Kazuma Okamoto a day. Okamoto's been struggling lately. But I don't think this is any seismic shift in the lineup or anything like that. There are some pitchers they just don't feel Schneider's a good matchup for. Maybe the high velocity up in the zone guys, and they might not play him against those types of guys. Maybe like a Taj Bradley, who's starting tomorrow. But this was a challenge for Schneider, but he has earned the right to be in there.
And this is why over 162 games you do see a lot of different lineups. And this is one of those days, I'm sure as a manager you're thinking, kind of perfect timing. Good day to maybe give Okamoto the day off. Good day to get Davis Schneider right back in there in a game that maybe he wouldn't normally start in.
Take strike 3 called. The first inning comes to a close, but not before the Blue Jays take an early lead as Dalton Varsho homers for the second game in a row. Career home run number 101 now for Dalton Varsho, and it's 2-0 Blue Jays early.
Than Alejandro Kirk. Watching from inside the clubhouse, Kirk saw his fellow countryman Valenzuela turn on a 1-0 splitter from Simeon Woods Richardson and send it out of the ballpark for his very first major league home run. Kirk has long kept tabs on Valenzuela's journey. As another Mexican catcher, he followed his rise through the Padres system, and now his teammates has taken him under his wing. I love him, Kirk told me. He's such a hard worker. I was really happy to see him have that moment because he truly earned it. Valenzuela has leaned on Kirk from the start, seeking him out for everything from game planning to receiving to navigating a big league pitching staff. Dan, the message Kirk keeps coming back with and what has really stayed with Valenzuela is simple. Keep being yourself. That is why you're here, guys.
Hazel, thank you. Great stuff. And a trade that in the moment last year maybe didn't draw a lot of attention, right? Will Wagner going to the Padres for Brandon Valenzuela, who at the time was at AA in the San Diego system. When he came to the Blue Jays for the last 2 months of the year, went to AAA Buffalo, started this year at AAA, and then of course only getting called up because of the unfortunate injury to Kirk. But a trade that it looks like may pay a lot of dividends for the Blue Jays. This is to center field, deep but playable. Varsho's there. Ryan Jeffers retired, one down. It is often said that around baseball, the thinnest position is catching in terms of guys who can go out there and actually handle being a big leaguer. And Valenzuela clearly was first man up in the Blue Jays system if anything were to happen. And lo and behold, something happened.
And my favorite part of Hazel's story right there is Alejandro Kirk. And this is how this game is so important. And these players, their countries are so important to them. We talk about so much regarding the World Baseball Classic. But here's Alejandro Kirk. He just knows that there's this young catcher from my native Mexico, that he's on the rise, he's coming up, and then that we acquired him. He's gone out of his way to learn more about him. So nice too for Valenzuela to have somebody like that, and Alejandro Kirk mentoring him on the way up here. Remember, we talked yesterday, Valenzuela spent the playoffs up here with the big league club, catching some bullpens, catching some simulated games. Valuable experience for him, just in case something happens this year. And sure enough, it's the injury to Kirk, why he's wearing a Blue Jays uniform right now.
And we've talked about it, and we've certainly seen it just in the way he looks behind the plate and the way he talks to the pitchers, calling for an ABS challenge in the first inning. This is obviously a confident, self-assured young guy. He asks a lot of questions. He's vocal in meetings, and he's trying to learn as much as he can as quickly as he can. Josh Bell pops one up for Davis Schneider, 2 down.
And as you say that right there, that ball is going off the bat. He points straight up, helping his infielders. Those are all little things, but they're big things when you're talking about a kid that's just gotten to the big leagues.
Starting his second game in a row, 5 up, 5 down in the early going for Eric Lauer. And here's Victor Caratini, the backup catcher for the Twins, who DH'd last night, playing first today. Derek Shelton trying to get as many right-handed bats in there against a lefty for the second day in a row.
That right there has been a good pitch for 100 years. Left-handed pitcher to a right-handed batter, or a righty to a lefty, but just flipping that curveball in there. Hitter's not looking for that. You steal a strike.
The get me over curveball?
Absolutely. The Jimmy Key get me over.
Yes, the one he threw to Paul Molitor, the video we showed last night. The first pitch ever thrown here back in 1989. We talked to Molitor on the field today. He was like overjoyed that we showed that and talked about him.
Really? You did? Really?
It's funny because he was born in the state of Minnesota, finished his career with the Twins, is best known as a Brewer for a player, but he's still got a real soft spot for the 3 years he spent here in Toronto, and obviously he won a World Series here, so that's
very special.
A big part of it. 3-1 on Caratini. Pete Walker in between John Schneider and catching coach Drew Butera, who's got a big hand in things as well with young Brandon Valenzuela. Just high, ball 4, the first base runner for the Twins. So now a lefty-lefty matchup with Trevor Larnach, who is in left field today. Larnach, a left-handed batter who rarely starts against left-handed pitching. But Derek Shelton's got so many left-handed bats, 1 or 2 of them have to be in there every day. So today it is Larnach, who comes into the game with just 2 at-bats against lefties on the season.
And I would say the scouting report is away, and away some more. First pitch cutter there, didn't quite get it out as far as he wanted to, but for a left-handed hitter that doesn't see a whole lot of lefties, good chance they're going to be leaking early a little bit, covering middle in. There it is, stay away. He's got the cutter and slider that are both going away from left-handed batters. Both of them can work.
Max Scherzer scheduled to make his start tomorrow in the finale of this series. A short lead by Caratini. And the 2-strike pitch to Larned. Grounded, or lined, I should say, to first, and a nice play made by Guerrero for the 3rd out here in the top of the 2nd. Catch every game of the Stanley Cup playoffs. It all begins Saturday, April 18th on Sportsnet. And one guy you're going to see a lot during the Stanley Cup playoffs, of course, is our guy, Kevin Bieksa, part of the Hockey Night in Canada team. And Kevin was out throwing out the ceremonial first pitch today to Louis Varland, who, and this is interesting, we saw Louis as Kevin Bieksa to autograph the baseball. Usually it's the Blue Jay player who autographs it for the other guy, but Louis said, no, I want your autograph and I'm keeping the baseball.
How about you sign it for me? Louis no dummy. Kevin Bieksa does such a fine job on Hockey Night in Canada for all those hockey fans out there, and lots of hockey coming up for sure.
Louis is a Minnesota guy, probably got a little hockey coursing through his veins in addition to baseball and wrestling.
And Kevin sporting the Ernie Clement jersey.
That's right.
Yeah.
2-0 Blue Jays, bottom 2 on the home run by Dalton Varsho. Here's Nathan Lucas, who has been playing sporadically in the early going, getting a start here today. Lucas is 2 for 19 on the season. Coming off his best year and a very good year a season ago for the Blue Jays. Whoops. Joe Ryan did not get that one to go where he wanted it to go. It was a slider and it slid right into Lucas. So here's Ernie Clement. You mentioned Kevin Bieksa wearing the Clement jersey. I wonder what it's like talking to another human being who's wearing your jersey. I mean, Ernie must think Ernie's having a couple good days. The Maple Leafs were here yesterday.
Hockey Central for Ernie. What a great couple days. Very cool. It's always fun to see the athletes in the same city.
And did that hit Ernie or did it hit the bat? I think it hit the bat.
Let's hope it was the bat.
Yeah. You'd rather a strike than an injury.
Right on the knob.
Wow.
I think as Blue Jays fans, we'll all take that right now. It's 0-1, but Ernie's hand is intact.
Ground ball to short and a possible double play, and the Twins do turn it.
Joe Ryan using that curveball a little bit more to righties this season, and it really slows things down, and that's what caught Ernie out front so far to roll that ground ball over.
So just like that, 2 down and the base is empty for Andres Jimenez. Went 1 for 3 with an RBI single last night. And as we mentioned, that RBI single, it might have gotten lost in the shuffle, but it was a 2-out, 2-strike RBI single in the 5-run 4th inning that allowed Brandon Valenzuela to come to the plate, and that's when he hit his 2-run homer.
Ball was on the inside part of the plate, kind of inside out at it. Really good swing. We talked so much about Jimenez going back to spring training. He said his MO is more about trying to think more of the middle of the field and the other way, and not to work down to the ball, but to kind of keep the ball low. And that swing really showed that. Just tried to stay inside it, shot it to left field.
That's foul up the first baseline. Eric Lauer, the velocity a little down in the first couple of innings from his normal velocity, but the location has been very good, and he's had 2 good innings. Some pretty good success for Jimenez against Ryan. Remember, of course, Andres was with Cleveland for a number of years, so in the same division as Joe Ryan. Looked like he held up, and he did. Popped up, foul, and out of play. Boy, it's another big crowd today, Joe. I mean, if it's not 40,000, it's close.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Every level.
Strike 3 called to end the inning. Second strikeout of the afternoon for Joe Ryan. It remains 2-0 Blue Jays. Strikeouts are brought to you by Subway. Buy 1 foot-long, get 1 free with a $0 delivery fee. Offer ends April 26th. Use the code to save on this Subway digital exclusive. Dan Shulman, Joe Siddall, Hazel May, top 3, 2-0 Blue Jays on the Dalton Varsho home run. Eric Lauer on the mound, and this is Brooks Lee, the shortstop for the Twins. We'll get it started here in the top of the 3rd against Lauer. Just 1 walk allowed. That's the only base runner for the Twins thus far. Lee, a former first-round pick, 8th overall pick back in 2022. Last year, his first full year in the big leagues. Hit .236, 16 home runs. Carlos Correa, one of the guys who was with Minnesota. He was traded back to Houston as part of that fire sale they had a year ago. This is going to hit the top of the wall and bounce out. It's a home run for Lee. Sanchez was going back as if he thought he might have a play on the ball, and it had just enough to get out of here.
Fastball at the top of the zone, and Brooks Lee got to it. It looked initially like Sanchez was going to make a play on it, but then he turned around. I just assumed he was going to play it off the wall, but it catches the top of the wall and bounces over to the Blue Jays bullpen.
second of the year for Lee. And the batter now is Ryan Kreidler, who was just called up to the big leagues by the Twins today, with Royce Lewis going on the IL with a knee injury he suffered a couple of days ago. That was in Minnesota in his last at-bat of the game against the Tigers. He actually stayed in the game, finished the game. Did not play last night. It was put on the IL today. Lewis has had so much trouble staying healthy.
And they'll miss his right-handed bat these 2 days. Lauer going today. Corbin last night. Those are 2 games he would have most likely been at third base.
Kreidler spending parts of 4 seasons with the Tigers. Got waived last year. The Pirates picked him up. Got waived again. The Twins picked him up. Lewis looking on. This one headed back out of play. So if you look at the numbers, Lauer's down about 1 mile per hour from his season average, but that's a little deceiving.
Yes.
Because the last game when he was sick lowered his season average. He's only made 2 starts before today. Ground ball up the middle to his left, ranges Jimenez, and they'll get him. Good play by Andres Jimenez.
Well, that's knowing the timing of the runner, and he does a nice job here getting to that ball. Looked like that throw got away from him initially, but it came back down. Kreidler runs pretty well, so we know he had to hurry a bit.
Again, the Blue Jays told Jimenez in November, you are going to be the shortstop on this team. Even if they had re-signed Bo Bichette, they had told Jimenez, you are going to be the shortstop. Bichette would have played second, so Jimenez had an entire winter to get himself ready physically, mentally, for being the everyday shortstop on this team. Top of the order, Byron Buxton. Little chopper up the third baseline. This is going to be trouble. Lauer thought about it and then let it go. And it might not have had a play anyways, but by the time it went by him with Buxton's speed, there was no play.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's getting a Byron Buxton on this one. You couldn't have rolled it down there any better. Lauer initially wanted to get to it, but then backed off for Ernie. But either way, that's an infield hit.
So a 1-out single for Buxton. Here's Austin Martin. Called out on strikes in the first. The 5th overall pick by the Blue Jays back in 2020 has never spent a full year in the majors. Made his debut in the majors in 2024. Lines it past Clement and into left, a base hit. And up to second on the play goes Buxton.
Well, it was like that changeup that we thought we would see more from Eric Lauer, and this one you can see how he pulls it a little bit. Sometimes you yank a changeup and it goes over glove side, which is into a righty. Ideally for that pitch, you're pronating and that thing's staying on the outer part of the plate. Came right into his barrel.
So a run on 3 hits here in the top of the 3rd for the Twins off Lauer, and now here's the number 3 hitter, Luke Keeschall. Lauer looking for a ground ball at somebody to get out of this.
And Lauer, like Joe Ryan, not a real ground ball pitcher, gets a lot of balls in the air because of the way he pitches up in the zone so much with that fastball.
The Twins at 7-7 on the season. We're coming off a 4-game sweep of the Tigers as they got to Toronto, but lost last night to drop them back to the 500 mark. The Blue Jays a game under 500 right now. A strike taken, 1-2, and it looks like there was a play on at first, but Valenzuela couldn't get a grip on it.
It sure was. We saw him with Ohtani at the plate in the last series. He came up fired at first and he clipped Ohtani's left arm. Vladdy coming in behind the runner here, but Valenzuela just doesn't get a grip on the baseball in that transfer.
Very high, 2-2. Lauer last year 28 appearances with the Blue Jays, 15 starts, 13 out of the bullpen. And now it's a full count. And I wonder here with, Lauer not having overwhelming velocity, do they start the 2 runners here on a 3-2 pitch?
Keishall is not a guy that's going to strike out a ton, so I think he's the ideal guy to do it. You do have to be very careful if you're Buxton of the inside move from the pitcher. You can't just take off when he lifts his leg. You've got to make sure that he's going home.
Schneider trying to keep him close out at second. They are not running, and it's ball 4, and that is going to load the bases. And that's going to bring Pete Walker out of the dugout.
Went back to the changeup, just missed at the bottom of the zone. Now you're dealing with a guy that started a Twins first inning off last night with a 3-run homer off Patrick Corbin.
Smooth sailing for Lauer through the first 2 innings, but a much tougher situation here in the third. A home run by Lee, a ground out by Kreidler. Then Buxton with a swinging bunt for a base hit. Martin lines one into left for a single, and the walk loads the bases for Jeffers. A big spot early in this one here this afternoon. Fastball misses just in, ball 1. And now he's behind 2-0.
Still pulling that changeup again, kind of yanking it across. Not ideal.
And now 3-0 with the bases loaded. And this is not something we see from Lauer very often at all. He is a command guy. He needs to be a command guy.
Got to be around the plate.
And ball 4 to force in a run, and that'll tie the game. And remember, last night they only got 4 out of Patrick Corbin, right? The bullpen went 5 innings. And any team is kind of playing with fire when you don't get enough innings out of your rotation. Max Scherzer's scheduled to go tomorrow. They do have an off day Monday, but boy, you don't want to run down these relievers too early in the season.
Yeah, John Schneider said one of them had to go 2 innings last night. It was Braden Fisher, so he'll be down. Trying to keep the others available.
Josh Bell looks at a curveball for a strike. They don't currently have that prototypical long man on the roster like Lazaro Estrada when he was up, went 4 innings out of the bullpen. And a couple of other guys, Austin Voth and Josh Fleming, have come and gone in the last week. But boy, it's a dangerous game to play when it goes beyond a few days, when you're just not getting many innings out of your starters. And the conversations here are not simple right now, because you got to think about yesterday and you got to think about tomorrow. Nobody is up in the pen. This is in the air, very shallow left center field. In comes Varsho, and it drops. 1 run is in, and a second run on the way to the plate as Keishall scores as well. A bloop 2-run single and the Twins have the lead.
Well, this one looked like it was off the end of the bat, and Dalton Varsho went to his right initially, but as he's coming in, he's looking for help from the infielders, but Jimenez is nowhere to be found, so it drops in front of him, and that allows both runners to come around.
So not the hardest contact in the world, to say the least, but it drops in front of Varsho for a 2-run single. And it's 4-2 Minnesota, still just 1 out. There's been a little bit of everything in this inning. There's been the bunt or the swinging bunt single and that bloop single. There have been hard hit balls, of course, the home run by Lee and the Martin base hit, and then there have been a couple of walks as well.
You can see that his command this inning has just not been the same. Really fighting the zone.
And this is an undesirable situation right now for Pete Walker and John Schneider, again trying to figure out how to balance wanting to win today versus not wanting to burn too many guys out of the bullpen. It is early in this one. Swung on and missed, 1-2.
Blue Jays have an off day Monday after this homestand, so you're trying to get through these 2 days. But tomorrow, Max Scherzer, the scheduled starter, he's been battling a little forearm issue, so you never know what you're going to get there.
And I think the term John Schneider used was, pretty normal for Scherzer heading into the start tomorrow. But you always, when you've got a thing, you're always worried about whatever that thing is until you see a guy go out there and prove it's not a thing anymore. And you saw Pete Walker went to the phone. So at this point, they are going to get somebody up. Two and two, the count on Caratini. And now full, but a challenge coming from Valenzuela, who's already 1 for 1 today. This is a leverage spot, and that is another good one for Valenzuela. He's 2 for 2.
Well, it's a heck of a challenge by Valenzuela. He received that ball beautifully, did not get the call, but immediately went to tap the helmet, and that's how you help bail your pitcher out. Lauer made a good pitch, but more importantly, Valenzuela aware enough to go ahead with the challenge.
Here's Trevor Larnach, who looks at a strike. And the phone call to the bullpen was to get Spencer Miles up. A fly ball deep right field, and Larnach hits it out. A long 3-run homer for Trevor Larnach, his first of the season. And the Twins have blown it open here in the 3rd.
We talked about this lefty-lefty matchup with Larnach at the bottom of the Twins order in his first at-bat. Stay away, stay away, stay away. They got him in that first one. But this is a fastball right in the middle of the plate at the top of the zone. You have to get it away from the left-hander. Trying to go away, but he does not get it out there. And that really depicts how this inning has gone for Lauer. Really has lost his command.
A 7-run 3rd inning for the Twins. Brooks Lee homered to begin the inning, and he's up again. .32 pitches thrown this inning by Eric Lauer. Swung on and missed, 1-2. And the fastball fouled back. Still 1-2 on Lee. And even if he gets him here, this could be it today for Lauer. Just the 3 innings, right?
Well, the Blue Jays bullpen was so good yesterday, and John Schneider went to the bullpen just at the right time, and they put a bunch of zeros up and allowed that offense for their comeback nature to come back and win that ball game.
But you think back to recent games, they had a bullpen game, right, where Mason Fluharty started. That was in Chicago. Also in Chicago was the game where Lauer went 2+. Scherzer only went 2 in his last start because of the forearm issue. This is popped up. Clement right near the bag, now comes in a bit and makes the catch. Finally, the top of the third comes to an end, but a tough one for Eric Lauer. It started with a home run by Brooks Lee, and then 8 batters later, Trevor Larnach punctuated the inning with a 3-run shot. Leon's is the official furniture and mattress retailer of the Toronto Blue Jays. Leon's, up your home game. Now, the famous Addison Barger couch story. Today is Addison Barger couch t-shirt day. Remember the story from last year during the World Series where it was October and he had family in visiting. They were staying at his apartment. He had nowhere to go, so he slept on the pull-out couch in Davis Schneider's hotel room, and it took on a life of its own, and that's why there's a t-shirt day here today. Meanwhile, Pete Walker, Eric Lauer, I'm sure, tomorrow, the next day, a lot to break down. In the moment, you wonder what that conversation could have been about. Lauer's suffering today both from a slightly diminished velocity and then maybe more glaringly the lack of command, which is something he normally has a lot of.
And that can all be a result of how his last week has gone and all those effects that you can get from an illness. And he's got to get better, he's got to get stronger, and he's got to get back to who he knows he can be.
He did have a throw day this week. We asked him yesterday. He threw on Wednesday.
Then you wonder the quality of all of that stuff.
Yeah.
The work between starts when he was as bad as we saw him in Chicago.
Right. Again, of all the guys who got the flu, he was the most seriously afflicted of the bunch from what we know. Here's Valenzuela, and a swing and a miss as Ryan gets him for the first out. Third strikeout for Joe Ryan, who is now pitching with the benefit of a 5-run lead as George Springer comes up for the second time. Springer walked and scored on the Varsho home run in the first. You can see the movement on that two-seamer from Joe Ryan. Looks like it's going to finish outside, and it comes back in over the outside corner.
Well, he got that lead, and he just came and pumped a bunch of fastballs at Valenzuela.
And down goes Springer.
Those off-speed pitches, it's a splitter. You can catch him out front, and the top of the baseball looks like went right off his left big toe. Oh, maybe just up top. All bone, though.
So Tom Hanahan, the home plate umpire, giving George a little bit of extra time. It's a 2-strike count on him.
The look of Ryan there. You know he's listening to his pitch comm with the look on that face.
Springer reaches for it, grounds it to third. Kreidler makes a good play for out number 2. When his command is on, he's really, really good.
It's really good because that fastball plays. It's not 96, 97, but I think it plays up from the velocities that we're seeing, and then he's sinking it also to go with a couple of different breaking balls and that splitter. So many weapons from Ryan.
Dalton Varsho got him for a 2-run homer on a fastball up in the zone. Second in as many games for Varsho. A one-hopper right back to Ryan, and an easy play and an easy inning for Joe Ryan. 7-2 Twins at the end of 3. Well, Trey Savage is trending in a positive direction. He's had a couple of rehab outings, hopefully back in Toronto well before his Angry Bird replica jersey giveaway day on May the 8th. Learn more at BlueJays.com/promotions. Yesterday, John Schneider telling us Savage's next outing will be either Tuesday or Wednesday. Could be in Dunedin, could be in Buffalo. Depends on the weather, and in theory, that could be the last one. And then he would rejoin the Blue Jays, but all depends on how it goes, how he's feeling. They might want one more, so still could be a couple of weeks. But clearly, with everything we've seen in recent days, and we kind of talked about it through the last inning, the Blue Jays, still looking to get some of their guys back in the rotation. Injuries have severely depleted the rotation. And case in point, because they had to use the bullpen so much last night, Eric Lauer's back out there. Threw 38 pitches in that 7-run third inning, but he is back out in the 4th. This is taking one for the team right here.
I think he must have, that conversation with Pete Walker must have been like, I'll go throw my 90 pitches or whatever the case may be. He's just going to stay out there and try to at least suck up one more inning, because every inning matters to save for that bullpen.
Two balls and a strike on Ryan Kreidler, who chases one and fouls it back. 2-2.
Just not quite finishing that pitch, and you can see that's when pitchers aren't sharp, it's taken off on them, or we've seen them also pull some of those changeups and really yank. So you're missing up high, then you try to make the adjustment, and he's really just been caught between all of them.
curveball and a good one to get him. Third strikeout for Lauer.
That's the best breaking ball we've seen from him today. Sharp curveball that time as the hitter just gives up on it, thinking it's away, and bam, all the way down and in.
Top of the order, Byron Buxton, 1 for 2. To center field. Varsho still going back. Has room on the track. 2 down. So 2 outs on 6 pitches for Lauer here in the 4th, and that'll bring up Austin Martin. 1 for 2, had a solid base hit into left in the 3rd, and eventually came around to score.
Do you remember Eric's first start against the A's, how much we talked about the fastball and how much life it had, and he was really explosive, and he has just not had that strength since that first start.
And he's not throwing as many fastballs today. I mean, whether he can feel it or see it by looking back at the scoreboard, he's not a big velocity guy anyways, and it's down a couple of ticks, and he's clearly going off speed a little bit more here today than he normally does.
When you don't have it, you go to your secondary options. That's what he's trying to do. Starting pitchers will often tell you you have 10 really good ones, 10 really bad ones, and then the other 10 are the ones that determine how your season goes. And this is just one of those where you know he's not feeling his best stuff. Fighting everything.
He threw his 4-seam fastball 60% of the time in that start against the A's, as Austin Martin is challenging this pitch. And he's correct. So that's ball 4. Lauer threw it 60% of the time in his start against the A's. And today he's thrown it about 30% of the time here today. That's too big of a gap for it to be a coincidence.
Absolutely. When you don't have your fastball, you go to those other pitches. The problem is the other pitches have played down as well, and you're fighting the zone with everything.
Luke Keyshaw, the batter. The 7-run inning, by the way, in the 3rd, the most runs that Lauer has ever allowed in an inning in the big leagues. But again, he is just trying to get them as many outs as he can to save the bullpen to whatever extent he can. We saw Spencer Miles up in the 3rd. And it's Miles up again, just in case Lauer can't finish this inning. Runner goes. Pitch taken. Throw down. The tag. Got him. Brandon Valenzuela. Power in the bat, Joe. Power in the arm.
He comes as advertised, a very strong right arm behind the plate. If you give him a chance, he'll take advantage. He fires a strike down to David Schneider. That's the first guy he's thrown out in the big leagues.
Brandon Valenzuela continues to display why the Blue Jays are high on him. This time it was with the arm. Talking to catching coach Drew Butera. What did you think about it, former catcher?
Talk about a little bit of footwork right there. See how you got to wait for the changeup. It's down in the zone, so you got to wait a split second longer. Almost didn't get the exchange, but once he gets it, he has a strong arm and threw a strike down to Schneider.
Nice job by Davis Schneider on the other end. Can the Blue Jays cut into this deficit here in the bottom of the fourth? Vladimir Guerrero Jr. leads it off. And a strike at the knees, 1-1. Vladdy doesn't appear to have loved it, but did not challenge the call. The Blue Jays are 2 for 2 on challenges thanks to Valenzuela today as well. Joe Ryan didn't like that pitch. Ball 2.
Talking to himself.
Probably like that one a lot better. 2-2.
Well, there's that location again. If you're going to throw that slider when you plant it out there, tough pitch to get to, and Vladdy just getting a piece of it.
Is Lauer coming back out for the 5th?
He might be.
That
caught stealing may have bought him some more pitches.
Yep. Shot to right field. It's a base hit for Guerrero.
Well, it was Vladdy who got the rally going last night in that 5-run 4th inning with a double. This is a 4-seam fastball. Up and in. It just pulls the hands in and shoots it to right. Good piece of 2-strike hitting by the big man.
A leadoff base hit, and here's Jesus Sanchez, who hit a fly ball to center in his first at bat. At least for the meantime, it appears Varsho is the 2-hitter, Sanchez the 4-hitter against right-handed pitching anyways, and the Blue Jays are seeing nothing but righties these days. Got another righty coming tomorrow in Taj Bradley, big arm, former Tampa Bay Ray, 97-98 with a fastball. And it looks like 3 righties in the Milwaukee series as well, including Jacob Mizorowski in the middle game. And if you think Taj Bradley's got a big arm, wait till you see Jacob Mizorowski. He can hit 101.
Taj Bradley coming off a 10 strikeout performance against the Tigers, just into the 7th inning.
3-1 now on Sanchez. Full. Davis Schneider waits on deck. In the air to shallow left. Larnach is in and a bit over to his right to make the catch for the first out.
Catch every pitch with Canada's most reliable 5G Plus network and best 5G Plus network. Rogers, we got you.
With Joe Siddle and Hazel May, I'm Dan Schulman. Bottom of the 4th here at Rogers Center. The Twins 7 in the 3rd and a 7-2 lead, bottom 4. Davis Schneider called out on strikes his first time on. Oh, 0-1, and a challenge coming from Schneider, who had a successful one yesterday, or Wednesday, I guess, the last game against the Dodgers, and just clips the top of the zone. So the Blue Jays down to 1 remaining challenge.
Davis has such a good knowledge of his strike zone because of his shorter stature. That ball at the top of the zone was called a lot on him before the implementation of ABS, but he's wrong on that one.
Guerrero at first, one down, and the Blue Jays down by 5. The 1-1 from Ryan. Fouled off. Very low chase rate, meaning swinging at pitches outside of the strike zone. Sees as many pitches per plate appearance as anybody in the majors. He can hit 230 and be a really productive guy because of the walks and the homers. Other guys can hit 270 and not be as productive. Do you think you're just born with a good eye, or can you improve that as a player?
I think part of it is some guys just have a better knowledge of the strike zone, but I also think your hitting mechanics can put you in a better position if your head is more still, if you're a little bit more relaxed and early with your load to pick up the baseball better. But vision, for sure, and all of these guys, most Major League Baseball players, have very good vision, but some of the best, maybe even a little more than others, picking up spin on baseball.
3-2. Popped up, way up in the air, foul territory. And it will be the catcher, Jeffers, making the catch. Schneider retired, 2 down. So the leadoff single by Guerrero. He's still there now with 2 outs. And the batter is going to be Nathan Lucas, who was hit by a pitch his first time up.
That ball was up there a long time. It was
yeah.
a fastball at the top of the zone that Schneider just clipped the bottom of the baseball, but it went straight up.
Swings through it, 0-1. Eric Lauer sure does look like he's coming back out for the 5th. Miles is standing in the bullpen but not throwing. And Lucas with a fly ball to center right at Buxton for out number 3. End of 4. The Twins 7 and the Blue Jays 2. Fans, now's the time to play in your regular season lineup with a flex pack. Choose 10 or more games, save on select matchups, plus receive guaranteed 2026 postseason ticket access. Grab the matchups you don't want to miss. Visit BlueJays.com/flexpacks to build your pack today. A little bit warmer, blue skies, but the roof is closed here. Not warm enough to open it up here with the ballpark. On to the 5th inning here on this Saturday afternoon. Minnesota 7 and the Blue Jays 2. And Luke Keyshaw, who was up in the top of the 4th when Austin Martin was thrown out trying to steal for the 3rd out, is back up there to begin top 5. And it is indeed Eric Lauer back on the mound, trying to get as many outs as he can and just save the bullpen to whatever extent he can. And as you said to me during the break, Joe, if he can get through 5 after what happened in the 3rd, that helps a little bit. That's a favor for the bullpen.
It's so tough as a catcher calling a game for a guy like this today, because my first inclination is maybe to spin the ball a little bit more, like we've just seen some breaking balls, because it helps a pitcher find that release point, get back out front. I'm not sure if this is one of those days.
To right field, Lucas going back and now to his left, makes the grab, 1 down.
Because you can try all you want to help your pitcher find his release point, but if he scattered, the fastballs have been up, the changeups he's been kind of pulling and yanking to the glove side.
And at some point, obviously, Spencer Miles is coming into this game. He was up in the 3rd, was up in the 4th, and he is up now and on high alert. 38 pitches thrown in the 3rd by Lauer. He's at 79 right now through 4 1/3. And he might get another quick out here. This is popped up by Ryan Jeffers. Ernie Clement straddling and battling the base. I mean, he knew he was near it, but you can't take your eye off the ball. And fortunately, he was able to make the play.
It's so important for a third baseman here to make sure you pick up your feet. He knows he's near the base, but watch this. Right, just about clipped it. You've got to make sure that he knew he was in the area and he felt it with his foot.
2 down for Josh Bell. Remember one other thing too, and maybe it's nothing, but maybe it's something. The bases are bigger than they used to be.
That's true.
What was that, 2-3 years ago? Like they're bigger, so you got more to deal with out there.
What, to go from 15 to 18?
Something like that, yeah. That must be a bad feeling. Like he knows it's right there, but it's like feeling around in the dark. You can't, you know, you can't look down, and just don't let me stumble over something. But a little bit low. 2-1 on Bell. Ground ball to short. Jimenez up with it. Low throw dug out by Guerrero. Saving Jimenez. And Eric Lauer, as bad as the 3rd was, he has gotten through 5 to help out the bullpen. Let's go to Jamie Campbell. Are you a Rogers customer? Watch for Canada's winning inning during the game. When the Blue Jays get a hit, you could win amazing prizes courtesy of Rogers Beyond the Sea. Ernie Clement's going to lead off the bottom of the 5th. We named our cat Addison Bargers so he could sleep on the couch.
Addison should take that as a compliment, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, hello, Addison.
That's funny. But I tell you, we get a chance on the road sometimes, or people are on the field behind the plate for BP sometimes to visit with Blue Jay fans, and man, do they have passion, and man, do they have stories. As Clement pops it up for the first out. Almost inevitably, the first thing we hear is where they're from. Hi, Joe. I'm from Winnipeg. I'm from Regina, wherever they're from. And there's always a connection or a story, but wherever the Blue Jays go, wherever we go with them, whether it's here in Toronto or anywhere across the U.S., it's amazing to see how many fans there are.
Very different than so many other teams, because most teams across baseball are kind of regional fan bases. This one has an entire country.
Andres Jimenez 0 for 1, struck out looking in the 2nd. Pulls it foul quickly. 0-2. Is he coming back out to start the 6th?
The way his left arm is wrapped in that towel, that's usually what you do when you're going back out. And Eric does not look happy right now, and I'm sure he is not, but what he is doing for his team, getting through 5 innings today when it looked like he could have been out of this ball game in the 3rd. Clearly with diminished stuff this afternoon.
Bounced up the middle. Lee, the shortstop. Good play. And as you said early, maybe this is just kind of the after effects of that flu that he had. I mean, right away in the first inning, he was 89-90 instead of 91-92. His velocity has been down. You and I both think a couple of pitches that registered as changeups on StatCast were fastballs, because he doesn't throw a changeup 87, 88 miles an hour. And he's a pro's pro. He gets it. Your individual stats can hurt when stuff like this goes on. But again, the last 2 innings he hasn't been scored upon, and he's gotten the last 6 outs on just 21 pitches.
He literally looked like he was on fumes in that last inning, and he just went 1, 2, 3. That's what I was surprised to see, that he maybe go back up, but squeeze out every ounce you can get. Certainly looks like he's still pitching.
He's coming back out. Yep. The second hitter is a left-handed batter in Trevor Larnach. Now Larnach homered off Lauer in the 3rd, but looks like he'll come out and at least start the top of the 6th.
Not that Eric Lauer needs to win any points with his teammates or his coaches, but these are things that players notice. They know he is not himself today. They know he is certainly not at his best, because we've all seen Eric Lauer at his best.
And not that he could have escaped the 3rd without any damage, but there was a swinging bunt base hit, and there was the Josh Bell fly ball to shallow center field, and it looked like Dalton Varsho got a bit of a misread on, like took a step back, and it happens. It doesn't usually happen to Varsho. We're not used to seeing it, but took a step back and couldn't quite get to it, and it fell in for a 2-run single.
But the likelihood of those innings getting away from you is so much greater when you don't have your best stuff. We know when Lauer's good, he's got that good changeup. He's got that good cutter that he can spot.
Miles Straw is on deck in George Springer's spot. Remember, Springer fouled a ball off his left foot earlier. Valenzuela grounds out, so that will end the inning. But it looks like Springer may be done for the day. Tomorrow, it's another Junior Jays Sunday. Bring the whole family for a day of games, artists, and live performers. And kids can run the bases just like their favorite Blue Jays following the game. Visit bluejays.com/promotions to grab your tickets today. Expect another big crowd. It's always lively on a Junior Jays Sunday. Final game of the series tomorrow between the Blue Jays and the Twins before the Blue Jays head on the road. 9 games in 10 days. The Brewers, the Diamondbacks, and the Angels. And Eric Lauer, Joe, is indeed out to at least begin the top of the 6th.
Trying to get through one more, doing everything he can to save the bullpen on a difficult afternoon for the Blue Jays left-hander.
7 runs on 5 hits for the Twins, and all of that was in the 3rd. Lauer did not give up a hit in the 1st, 2nd, 4th, or 5th. Caratini a walk and a strikeout today. Ball 2.
He is literally on fumes right now. I'm surprised he's still in this ball game, but they're trying to get every ounce out of him to save that bullpen.
A pen that had to go 5 innings, 4 of them going 5 innings yesterday.
And this could be communication with Lauer saying, how do you feel? And he may not feel great physically, but as long as his arm's not sore or anything, he'll probably say, I'll go as long as I can. I'm guessing that's what the conversation's been like.
See, StatCast, as we look out of the scoreboard, registered that as a changeup. That was a fastball at 87 miles an hour.
Not good.
Lined and caught down at 3rd by Clement for out number 1. And you're right, not that he needs to score points with his manager, pitching coach, or teammates, but he's doing it right now.
Tough start to the season for Lauer. You go back and you mentioned it earlier about losing the arbitration case and being frustrated. Of course, he wants to be a starting pitcher, and selfishly, personally, he's a free agent after this season. Of course, guys always want to start, but he was probably headed to the Blue Jays bullpen before all of these injuries, so then he's thrust back into the rotation.
And is great against the A's in that first start. 9 strikeouts. And then the flu got him.
And he does not have to be a front of the rotation starter if he can do what he did last year at the back end. That's a wonderful thing.
Go to Larnach. Just missed outside. And Pete Walker on the phone again. Spencer Miles has been standing on the mound and throwing intermittently for a long time now. The first time he got it was way back in the 3rd. Outside, it's full. 94 pitches now for Lauer. With Brooks Lee, who's homered today, waiting on deck. Ball 4. And it looks like John Schneider is on his way, and he is. That will be the end for Lauer, who, after giving up 7 in the 3rd inning, does get 7 more outs to at least get this game into the 6th and save the bullpen a little bit. Tough day at the office for Eric Lauer. Spencer Miles on his way in with 1 on, 1 out here, top 6. So Eric Lauer toweling off in the dugout after 5 1/3 innings. That could only be described as a struggle. And again, you know, clearly I think it's a fairly safe bet to say not 100% over the flu. I mean, the velocity wasn't there at the beginning. He got hit hard in the 3rd, but managed to get his team into the 6th through 95 pitches in this game. And now Spencer Miles will make his 5th outing of the season and of his big league career, as he faces Brooks Lee, who turns around to bat from the left side.
Spencer hasn't pitched all week. He pitched Monday against the Dodgers, and in his 5 2/3 innings, 2 walks and 6 strikeouts, he has given up a couple of long balls early in his young career.
25 years of age, a Rule 5 pickup from the Giants organization. Home plate umpire Tom Hanahan says that Lee offered to that, so it's 0-2. And the good news about Miles is if things are going well, he is fully capable of giving them more than an inning. I think the stuff was one of his selling points, if you will, during the spring. I think the fact that he can go a couple of innings also played in his favor. Base hit into right center field. Larnach makes the turn. He'll come to 3rd.
Hard hit into the open middle of the field. Spencer not happy with the location of that pitch. He knows, and I think he's learning already at the big league level, boy, when you miss a spot, they'll get you. And he's already given up a couple of homers in his young big league career, but that's how you find out. He just has not pitched a ton professionally after all of his injuries.
So the Twins looking to add on. They've got runners at 1st and 3rd with 1 out, and the Blue Jay infield kind of halfway, maybe a little closer than that. The batter was the number 9 hitter Ryan Kreidler. Runner bluffs a start from 1st and then stops, and it's ball 1 to Kreidler. Again, just added to the roster today as Royce Lewis was placed on the IL with a left knee injury. (2-0).
He'll use the 4-seam fastball and the sinker oftentimes at the top of the zone like that, but he's also got a slider and a curveball, both breaking pitches. He'll use the slider more to the righties, curveball to lefties.
Double play ball. Jimenez to Schneider to Guerrero to retire the side. Miles made a good pitch when he had to. Got it hit right to Jimenez. The Blue Jays turn it, and it's on to the bottom of the 6th.
Welcome back. Let's take you back to the 3rd inning as we see George Springer fouling a ball off his foot, and then you'll see him wincing his way to first base. Well, the news is not good, Blue Jays fans. Springer has been removed from today's ball game with what the Jays tell me is a left big toe fracture. So Dan, the hits keep on coming on the injury front. Springer out with a left big toe fracture.
Wow. So obviously got an x-ray shortly after that last at bat, and this team that has been decimated by injuries in the early going this year loses another one of its most important players. I would assume after the game John Schneider may have some sort of a timeline, but boy, is that a big loss.
That's a big one. We saw where that ball hit him. It looked more toward the base of that big toe on the top of the foot, but you're hoping it's a bruise, contusion of some sort. That's the word we did not want to hear from Hazel.
So Miles Straw pinch hitting for Springer.
You just never know the challenges that a season is going to bring to you, and every season is a new one. Blue Jays dealt with a lot of it last year too. They just continue to battle and get through it all, but this year I don't think can have started off worse.
Straw with a fly to left for out number one.
Hey Canada! Blue Jays baseball just got more comfortable. Leon's is the official furniture and mattress retailer of the Toronto Blue Jays. Leon's, up your home game.
Dalton Varsho, who homered in the first, grounded out in the third. And lifts one back of second. The shortstop Lee backpedaling to make the catch. So now they're without Alejandro Kirk. Call it conservatively 6 weeks. Addison Barger hopefully back after 10 days, maybe not long after that. Springer, we don't know, plus all of the injuries in the starting rotation. You know, you just try to stay afloat till some of these guys return, but this is a big loss. I have no concept of how long the absence might be for George Springer. There's no point speculating till we get more information after the game.
It's a fracture, and bones take a long time to heal, right? It's just, and you look back to last year too, and remember coming out of spring training, George was coming off a down year. To think what you would have gotten from George Springer and Addison Barger, the power was the key.
Pitch called a strike. Toronto's challenging.
Guerrero challenging, and he's correct.
Pitch the ball. Toronto has one challenge to make.
If you'd have told me you'd get over 50 home runs from Springer and Barger last year, that's not what John Schneider was expecting. It's not what the Blue Jays were expecting. The power came from different areas, but you're gonna have to piece this thing together again this year somehow.
So now somebody's going to come up, obviously from Buffalo, and you're looking for some thump, some slug. If you can find a guy down there, somebody's got to be the leadoff hitter. Tough news for George Springer and for the Blue Jays here today. A frustrated Guerrero strikes out as Joe Ryan sets down the Blue Jays in order here in the bottom of the sixth. HGTV and Food Network are both in free preview this April. Watch exclusive shows like Rock the Block, The Emily Michelle Project, and Andy's East Coast Kitchen Crawl. Check your TV provider. Well, a tough day on a number of levels for the Blue Jays here today. On the scoreboard, as you can see, they are down 7-2 going to the top of the 7th with Spencer Miles back out this inning. Bigger picture, though, the bigger news is yet another injury. If you weren't with us over the last 10 minutes or so, Hazel getting word from the Blue Jays a few minutes ago that George Springer has a fractured big left toe after fouling a ball off that toe in his second plate appearance today. And, you know, no injuries are good. Some matter more than others, but it's just another loss of another key player on this team.
A key part of the lineup with Alejandro Kirk already out. Dylan Cease and Kevin Gausman are going to continue to try to lead this rotation that has also been beset by injuries.
Buxton with a fly ball to left, and Sanchez is there for out number 1. I think Springer falls into the the Alejandro Kirk category. Like, you can't replace George Springer. You can't replace Alejandro Kirk. Whoever you go get, you just hope they can do the best they can, but you're not going to find somebody who can do what George Springer does.
You know, Kirk so valuable because it's both sides of the ball and handling a pitching staff, and George so valuable because he's not just a hitter, he's your leadoff hitter. He is starting everything off, and that lineup turns over.
And in many ways too, he's your leader, he's your energy. You know, the numbers are were great last year, and he's more than just the numbers. But you got to play the games. You got to pick 9. You got to write out a lineup, and you can't feel sorry for yourself at the big league level. And John Schneider and DeMarlo Hale and everybody else in that dugout know that very well.
It's how you navigate these waters, right? That's what the Blue Jays are going to have to do. Navigate this time without an Alejandro Kirk and now a George Springer. Hopefully get Addison Barger back soon. Hopefully get some of these arms back soon. And every little bit helps. Sure, you'd love to have everyone healthy at the same time, but I'm not sure there's a team in baseball that can say that. Opportunities for everyone now, though.
A strike, and it's full on Austin Martin. Luke Keyshaw waiting on deck. 7-2 Twins, top 7 in the middle game of 3. Missing low with that curveball for ball 4. Back to Hazel.
Dan, you guys were talking about Kirk. He told me earlier today that he will leave for Florida tomorrow, where he'll begin to work on his lower half, trying to keep the rest of his body in shape. That left hand, where he broke that left thumb, is in a cast now. So Kirk will begin that long journey to get back into game shape, guys.
All right, Hazel, thank you. And again, 6 weeks, and that may be a little bit on the conservative side until Kirk is back. As you said, hopefully Barger is soon. It's a sprained left ankle, but it's at least another 7-8 days bare minimum until he's back. Trey Yesavage, maybe one more start, maybe 2. So Barger and Yesavage would probably be the first 2 guys to come off the IL. Guerrero's got it. Jimenez crossing the bag back to him, but not in time. But they do force the lead runner.
Well, this is a nice play by Vladdy, and even more importantly from Jimenez. He has a long ways to go to get to that second base bag. Vladdy fires this ball. Jimenez is not even at the bag yet. Catches it behind it before he touches the base and tries to relay that throw.
It's like football. You're hitting a moving target out there.
Lead your receiver.
Yeah. Jimenez running a crossing pattern over the middle. They get the lead runner 2 down. And here's Jeffers 0 for 2. And in addition, picked up an RBI on a bases loaded walk. So obviously a roster move coming tomorrow, and if you're wondering about who could come up from Buffalo, I would think Eloy Jimenez would be a possibility. Had a very good spring, off to a decent start in the regular season. because Springer is the DH, you can pick a guy who plays anywhere, or in Jimenez's case, who doesn't play the field very often. But we will see what develops. Jimenez shovels to Schneider in time to force Keyshaw. 7th inning stretch at Rogers Center. Well, the big 50-50 jackpot time is running out. It is up tomorrow, and it is closing in on $2.5 million already. This jackpot from Jays Care could be yours tomorrow night with Hazel May calling to congratulate the winner. Head to BlueJays.com/5050 to get your tickets now from participating provinces. 7-2, the Twins lead the Blue Jays. Bottom of the 7th, it'll be Jesus Sanchez, Davis Schneider, and Nathan Lucas against Joe Ryan, who after the walk and the homer to the first 2 batters he faced has not given up much of anything, Joe.
Yeah, he has been very solid, and he continues to pound these lefties in with the 4-seamer and the slider, working that sinker into the righties as well, and of course using those breaking pitches away. Got himself a little lead, kind of put it in cruise control.
Got a little bounce in his step too as he's waiting to get the pitch he wants. Now to play left side, 0-2.
There it is again, coming hard in on these lefties with that 4-seamer. Sinking it sometimes, but really crowding them on the inside part of the plate. Seems to be the MO of a lot of opposing pitchers now to a lot of these Blue Jays lefties. Varsho, Sanchez, Jimenez.
And Sanchez reaches for that low curveball, and it grounds out to first, 1 down. Now Davis Schneider, who is 0 for 2. I would imagine John Schneider obviously has been given the news about George Springer.
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody in the dugout, if all the players have heard, but that kind of thing goes to the manager very quickly. And obviously Schneider's got John Schneider, that is, has to keep his focus on the game. But now you're talking about a team without their leadoff hitter, and in Barger and Kirk, you know, 4-5, 4-6, 5-6, like 2 of your middle of the order hitters, right? You're now without 3 of your most important hitters plus 4 starting pitchers. He went around, and Schneider strikes out for the 2nd time today. Here's Nathan Lucas, who was hit by a pitch in the second, flied out in the fourth. And another 0-2 count.
Another fastball inside too. Got Lucas last time on a fastball in, popping it up to center field.
Misses outside. Nobody up in the Blue Jays pen, by the way, so Spencer Miles, who has already gotten 5 outs on just 19 pitches, he'll come back out to begin the 8th.
This could turn out to be a big win, keeping so many of these guys available.
Lauer managing to go 5 1/3, and Miles now with 5 outs, so they've gotten them through 7. You want to have guys like Hoffman and Rogers and Varland available for tomorrow if you need them. Great stop at third, and the throw is in time. What a play by Kreidler. Just called up to the big leagues for the first time this season today, ranging and diving to his left, making a great play to take a base hit away from Nathan Lucas. Time now for Blue Jays Central. Let's send you to Jamie and Caleb. Presented by Schneider's, every Tuesday home game of the 2026 season. Last Tuesday, over 100,000 Looney Dogs were sold and consumed. The next Looney Dogs night comes your way when the Red Sox are here April 28th. Grab your tickets at bluejays.com/tickets. Josh Bell leading off the top of the 8th for the Twins. Spencer Miles back on the mound for the Blue Jays. Chases a curveball, and it's 0-2. Looks like Joe Ryan may be done for the day, although he was in conversation with Ryan Jeffers. The bullpen is up for the Twins. And Miles gets Bell on 3 pitches.
We've seen good velocity from Spencer Miles, the 4-seamer and the sinker at the top of the zone. And I remember talking to him in spring training about his curveball, and then he developed this slider. So he's got lots of weapons. He told me he's confident. He feels very well equipped, with always adjusting to the major league level is going to be a challenge.
Ground ball to Clement at third, and Caratini is retired for a quick second out. With left-hander Cody Funderburk up in the Twins pen.
Fielder number 9, Trevor Ryan.
Ryan is indeed done, and here's Trevor Larnach, a line out, a 3-run homer in the third, and then he walked in the sixth. Right there, and it's 1-1. In there again, 1-2.
Good spot with that one coming inside. Good setup by Valenzuela, and he hit his spot. You can certainly see what the Blue Jays like about the stuff from Spencer Miles.
High, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Miles 95-96 with the fastball, then the 2 breaking balls Joe was talking about, the slider and the curveball. That's the curve, and it's full.
Remember asking Spencer in spring training about that Rule 5 drafting. You wonder how players feel going in. He wasn't sure initially about getting selected, but once the winter meetings rolled around, he said his agent told him that there's a good chance it's going to happen, that there are teams interested. And what do you know? He is selected by the Blue Jays, and here he is in the big leagues.
That's a fair ball. Valenzuela has it, takes his time, makes a good throw, and Miles gets the Twins in order. He's given the Blue Jays 2 2/3 out of the bullpen. A terrific afternoon for Joe Ryan. The first 2 batters he faced, Springer walked, Varsho homered, and that was basically it for the Blue Jays off Ryan. 7 innings, just 2 runs on just 2 hits, pounding the strike zone. The offense has helped them. The Twins have a 5-run lead going to the bottom of the 8th inning here at Rogers Center as Derek Shelton has gone to his bullpen for left-hander Cody Funderburk.
Funderburk entered a save situation in the 9th inning Wednesday against the Tigers. He walked a guy, hit a guy, but then he was able to get a ground ball and a line out to secure that save.
One defensive change. James Outman has taken over in left for Trevor Larnach. And a base hit into left for Ernie Clement to get things started here in the bottom of the 8th. Just the third hit of the ball game for the Blue Jays. Funderburk, parts of 4 seasons in the big leagues, all with Minnesota. As now Andres Jimenez steps in, he's 0 for 2. One ball, one strike on Jimenez. The Minnesota pen, as we talked about last night, is absolutely, completely bullpen by committee right now. It's all about who's rested, who's pitching well, matchups. Derek Shelton does not have a stated closer, stated setup man, anything like that. It's day to day, game by game, who matches up best with whoever's coming up next.
And they'll be patient with Funderburk. Walks have been a bit of an issue. We walked 3 against the Tigers, one of those games this past week. And there it is right there. So make him be in the zone.
Yeah, you need base runners. Keep the line moving.
You expect a lot of sinkers from Funderburk if you're Jimenez, a left-handed batter. Don't worry too much about the cutter, sweeper, slider. Try to get one of those heaters.
Or take a walk.
There you go.
First and second, nobody out. And Derek Shelton's getting the bullpen up again. Right-hander Cole Sands is now throwing. Just started. Did not pitch in last night's game. Here's Brandon Valenzuela. Turns around to bat for the right side against the left-hander Funderburk. The home run he hit last night, the first of his big league career, came from the left side, but he's got power from both sides. This ball to right field. Martin is back and makes the catch. Clement goes back to tag and will come to third.
Good swing by Valenzuela. He came out looking for something in the zone, drove that ball hard, but right at the right fielder. See that 4-seam grip. Good swing by the youngster from the other side of the plate. Unfortunately, right at him.
You see Miles in the background there, got the sweatshirt just over his right shoulder, walking around. Nobody's throwing. Miles is coming back out for the 9.
Wow.
So he's already given the Blue Jays 2 2/3, and it looks like he's going to give them more. Here's Miles Straw, who came on as a pinch hitter for George Springer in the 6th. And I know most of you have heard by now, but for those who may have joined in the last 20 minutes or so, another tough blow for the Blue Jays. George Springer suffered a left big toe fracture today, fouling a ball off that toe in the 3rd inning. Ran out a ground ball later in the at-bat, but did not come out in the 6th. So I would imagine a little bit more info coming from John Schneider after the game. But a left big toe fracture, another big loss for the Blue Jays. Trying to make a game of this one here in the bottom of the 8th. 1st and 3rd, 1 out, with Straw, the batter, and Varsho on deck. The 0-2. Fly ball, shallow center. Buxton setting up. Clement takes a couple of steps, and then we'll watch the throw come in. Not deep enough for him to try to come in. 2 down.
Not deep enough, or just not willing to gamble down 5 runs. You have to make sure Buxton has a pretty good throwing arm in center field.
So with 2 outs, it'll be Varsho, who was responsible for both Blue Jay runs here today. A 2-run homer in the first. Varsho has been swinging the bat very well against lefties this year. 5 for 13, a double and a homer, a couple of walks as well, as Pete Walker's back on the phone.
And one swing of the bat can make this game very interesting.
Asked Lou Iannotti, one of the hitting coaches for the Blue Jays before the game, why is Varsho having so much success against lefties? And he said just maybe hanging in there a little bit longer, not opening up. You know, really working on hitting the ball up the middle, left center field, and some of his hits to lefties have gone up the middle and to left center. Maybe just, you know, heightened focus and awareness on what he's really trying to do with a lefty on the mound. Under the glove of Funderburk, but a force out at second to end the inning as the Blue Jays leave those 2 base runners aboard. You're watching Rogers Blue Jays baseball on Sportsnet. Y2K weekend is taking over Rogers Center. On April 24th, the first 15,000 fans will score a Blue Jays Retro Logos hoodie. There will also be music and activities around the ballpark. Just go to bluejays.com/tickets. Top of the 9th inning, and Spencer Miles back on the mound. He has already gone 2 2/3. He has thrown 29 pitches. Has not allowed a run, doing a great job. It might not help them win a ball game today, but it might help them win a ball game tomorrow, because John Schneider has not had to go to Rogers or Varland or Hoffman or Fluharty, and other than Miles, John Schneider should have his full complement of relievers available tomorrow.
This is remarkable that the Blue Jays have a chance to finish this game out using 2 pitchers today, 1 reliever.
And for guys who are, you know, kind of occupying one of the last spots in the bullpen, the separator can be, can you go multiple innings? That can be the difference sometimes between, are you in the big leagues or are you not in the big leagues?
Yeah, it's so important, because if you're using relievers for a bunch 1 inning at a time, you're using guys almost every day. Pretty soon they've worked 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4, not available. Don't see too many guys go 3 days in a row anymore.
Two and 2 on Brooks Lee. Ground ball to the right side. Davis Schneider has it. Nice play for the first out. All 7 runs for the Twins coming back in the 3rd. Home runs by Brooks Lee and then Trevor Larnach. The Blue Jay runs coming in the 1st on a 2-run homer by Dalton Varsho. Ryan Kreidler is the batter now for the Twins, 0 for 3 in his first game of the big leagues this year. And for a pitch that Miles did not have in his arsenal back at the beginning of the spring, he certainly has developed a lot of confidence in that slider quickly. That's it again right there, and it's fouled off 1-1.
Sliders often used more from right-handed pitchers to right-handed hitters, and they use the curveball a little bit more because it's got more of a downward break as opposed to that slider coming down and into lefties. But anything that's hard and spinning away from righties plays well with his four-seam fastball sinker combination.
That's it again, 1-2. So 3 pitches, 3 sliders here to Kreidler.
So I would say after that, good time to run that fastball either up and or in now. Something hard. Might just go back out there, though. There it is.
96. Tough day for both of those guys. Pete Walker, he could see early. Eric Lauer was laboring and probably still not entirely over the effects of the flu. You could just see that Lauer was given everything he had, but everything he had is not as much as he normally has, and it caught up to him in the third. So a lot of stress for Pete Walker, and John Schneider obviously aware of the news that George Springer has a fractured toe. Line drive to right field. On comes Lucas to make a fine sliding catch.
A little hesitation there by Nathan Lucas. It looked like he misread it initially, but certainly had time to recover. Sliding in and catching it to his side.
Two down, top of the order, Byron Buxton, who was 1 for 4, had an infield hit and scored back in the third. I know this, at some point after the game, John Schneider, whether he's asked about Spencer Miles or not, is going to talk about Spencer Miles and what he's done. You know, no glamour in this role right now, but a chance to get 3 2/3 and make everybody else in the bullpen available tomorrow.
And, you know, he's going to talk about Eric Lauer, too, because I think we could both agree we thought Eric Lauer was done in that third inning. It looked like he was spent. He didn't have his best stuff, seriously diminished stuff today, and he pitched into the 6th inning for this team. It's just remarkable.
A strikeout for Miles, his second as he gets Buxton. He goes 3 2/3 scoreless in relief. It's on to the bottom of the 9th. The final game of this series comes your way tomorrow afternoon. Blue Jays Central at 1 Eastern. First pitch at 1:37. Max Scherzer, John Schneider telling us before the game, is a go for tomorrow. Forearm tendonitis limiting him to 2 innings his last time out, but they hope that over the last 5 days, things have gotten closer to full strength for Scherzer, and he'll be able to give them his regular effort, his regular start tomorrow. It is all Minnesota, 7-2, bottom of the ninth. Cole Sands is on to make his 6th appearance of the regular season. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. leads it off for the Blue Jays. Guerrero 1 for 3 with a base hit back in the 4th, one of just 3 hits the Blue Jays have in the game. The Varsho homer, a Guerrero single, and a Clement single.
Not a save situation, but Cole Sands has one of those saves out of the Twins bullpen. It was the 2nd game of the season.
Usually when the phone rings in a team's bullpen, the guys down there have a pretty good idea who it's for, but that is not the case for the Twins.
Not yet, anyway.
No.
For Sands, it's his 5th season with the Twins. Another guy with a variety of pitches, four-seamer, he'll sink it as well. Curveball, cutter, split.
Guerrero succeeded in checking it. It's 2-2. That's just foul. After Guerrero, it'll be Jesus Sanchez and Davis Schneider here in the bottom of the 9th. Kazuma Okamoto getting his first day off here today. Just a day, says John Schneider. He has been struggling in recent games. They also wanted to get Davis Schneider in there again as Guerrero mashes one up the middle for his 2nd hit of the game. They expect Okamoto back in there tomorrow. The big question is who will be the DH and who will be the leadoff hitter for the Blue Jays, but that'll be tomorrow's news. Again, probably a little bit more information from John Schneider on George Springer after the game, but it is not good. Here's Sanchez, 0 for 3. Up and away, a ball and a strike.
We have seen the Ernie Clements, the Davis Schneiders move up to that leadoff spot at times against left-handers, but against a right-handed starter, it really kind of throws a wrinkle into it.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned Jimenez's name, and Nathan Lucas, but he's not. He's off to a slow start this season.
High drive to deep right, and it is a 2-run home run for Jesus Sanchez.
Jesus Sanchez can lead off. This pitch was down and in at the bottom of the zone, and he got underneath this baseball and hit it a mile high.
.406 feet. Number 2 on the season for Sanchez. Everybody's going to have to find a way to do a little bit more in the absence of Springer, and Jesus Sanchez is a guy who, as we have seen, Joe, there is a lot of thunder in that bat when he squares it up.
Well, and when you talk about losing guys like Barger and Springer and Kirk, maybe it's guys like Jesus Sanchez step up. Vladimir Guerrero keeps stepping up. This was a no-doubter.
Have you ever seen a left-handed batter connect and fall as far across to the other side of the plate as he just did?
The way that he went down and got that, and of course he's got great bat speed, but he literally fell over to his left.
Careful now, careful. Joe's reenacting in the, we don't, careful.
Over into the right-handed batter's box.
Has always been known as a big bat speed, exit velocity guy. He's got power. Can they get him to his ceiling, to reach his potential? It is 7-4. Derek Shelton did not get anybody up in the bullpen after that 2-run homer. This inning, at least for now, still belongs to Cole Sands. Pulled down to third. Kreidler plays a nice third base. 1 down.
Well, it's a dangerous spot. He threw back to back to back cutters, but this one was pretty well in the same spot the first pitch was that he fouled off. So as a hitter, you see that you track the pitch, and it's a familiar spot, and that's a pretty dangerous spot, I think, to face Sanchez down and in. He's been so good. We've seen him down in the zone.
1 out, and Nathan Lucas is the batter. Lucas 0 for 2, also hit by a pitch. So the 4 runs for the Blue Jays coming on a pair of 2-run homers, Varsho and Sanchez. Good spot, and it's 0-2. And a good spot again. Lucas does well to spoil it. Varsho his second, Sanchez his second, but the Blue Jays still down by 3 here in the bottom of the 9th. The 1-2. That one into the netting up above the Twins dugout. That one was almost right in on the knees of Lucas, and he pulled it foul.
Cutting in way off the plate, and Nathan got the barrel to it.
Valenzuela hoping to get another at bat. Blue Jays have 2 outs left here. They're down by 3 after the Sanchez homer. Is in full-fledged protect mode right now. Anything close with 2 strikes, he is going after it. Line to first for the 2nd out. So the Blue Jays are down to their final out. Here's Ernie Clement, 1 for 3. Spins away from an inside breaking ball. It's 1-0. Kreidler again. Tricky hop, good play, and the Twins win it. The 7-run 3rd inning stands up. They beat the Blue Jays 7-4, so the Blue Jays drop to 6-8. Again, the bigger news is the fractured left toe, left big toe for George Springer. More information, I would imagine, forthcoming, but both between the white lines and on the injury front, a tough day for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, certainly on the field with Eric Lauer suffering through this start, but still able to pitch into the 6th inning, and a nice job by Spencer Miles finishing this thing off. But for sure, the news of the day is the Blue Jays looking like they are going to lose their leadoff hitter for some time.
The final score, the Twins 7, the Blue Jays 4. The rubber match tomorrow with Max Scherzer on the mound. Right now it is time for Blue Jays Central. Once again, here are Jamie and Caleb.